Hey YouTube, it's the Frog Queen here, and today I have a special interview for you. I am going to be talking to James Harvey. James is a comic book artist, illustrator, and also writer. Today we're going to be talking about his upcoming book that'll be published in March called Mouth Baby. James is an artist that I've been following for quite some time. I'm a big fan. You might remember Master Blasty. Whoops. He's also the person who created Bart Kira. If you're not familiar with Bart Kira, you will be by the end of this video. It is a mishmash of The Simpsons meets Akira put together. And it's created by a whole bunch of different contributions of different comic book artists and all over the world. So, we'll talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about, well, you know what? I'm not going to spoil it. Just watch it. All right. Thank you for doing this. This is awesome.
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm happy to do this kind of, yeah, it's fun.
I thought we'd start just by talking about the new book. I don't actually know when the release date is.
Oh, we don't... Are we recording? Did we start?
Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, I can wait if you need more time.
No. Okay, right. Yeah, we're in this. Well, we're thinking March. Like, we've got a little while. Like, the thing isn't finished. Like, we've got it's all pencil. We've got 4 pages left to ink. No, 6 pages left to ink, and then half of it left to color. So, like. And then the lettering is only kind of half done. So this is like the right now it's like the breakneck kind of crunch time to get it all finished. And but I'm extremely proud of it. And we're thinking like early March is when it's going to be done. And we know that it takes about 6 days to print it. I was looking at my publisher's like schedule and so we're very like sure on like the time frame it'll take us to turn it around, and it's a very exciting thing. But it's also in indie comics there's not always that pressure of deadlines and things because you're your own boss, So after like kind of dragging my feet on this for like the last year or so, like now I finally I put the pressure on myself to finish it. So early March we're thinking. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That's like no time at all, though. That's like tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I think so. I haven't checked the calendar, but it seems like it might be. Yeah, it seems very close indeed.
Well, no, it's super exciting. Who are you actually publishing with? I don't think I noted that.
Oh, it's with this company called I say company. It's basically one guy, and it's Black Hook, and there's a man called James Stacy who lives in Japan, and I think he got in touch with me through the Bart Kira project, and I think that was the first thing I ever spoke to him about. But then he ended up publishing a book of mine called Master Blasty in Japan, and his that was a short story I did a few years back that got published. In several different territories, and but the Japanese edition, which he did, was just the best one. It had the most beautiful printing, the best paper and colors, and I'm just like, well, why don't I just put stuff out in English with this guy? Because it was way better than, like, we put it out through Image Comics, and his was far better than the Image one, So now I'm just like going independent and putting it out with this tiny little Japanese publisher, rather than take it to someone big, just because the finish on it is so beautiful. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, Black Hook, it's this tiny independent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that, you go through these tiny people and, like you said, the quality of the pressing is so much better. Like, that's always really interesting. Even like I was working for Magnetic Press for a short period of time, just doing like for part-time work on the side, and their bookbinding and printing is impeccable. It's so gorgeous, but they're this tiny company in comparison to all these other, you know, mainstream people. That I have Masterplasty, but I have the Image Oversize edition, the large one. And I remember the paper being very, like, thin on that. But
and shiny, it's very thin and shiny, and the colours are, like, almost garish in a way. Like, I do like how that came out. Like, mostly I like how big it is.
Yeah, I like the size as well.
Well, I was just looking at, like, when you work with Image, you have to do a lot of stuff yourself. It's amazing. Like, they don't really hold your hand. They just, like, give you a lot of forms to fill in. And I noticed, like, there was a checkbox, like, would you like this oversized or would you like it normal comic sized? And I'm like, why doesn't everyone just check that? Why would you ever not check that box? It's amazing.
Because it's going to stand out.
Yeah, and that means that every Image comic you've ever seen, where it's just a normal size, someone's not checked that box, which boggles the mind, quite frankly. But I wasn't expecting, like, it to be that big. Like, it's like the length of a man's arm, which I
think I framed my copy. 1 second.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I want to see.
I feel like I've got it here. I do.
Ah, that's so cool. Yes! It's amazing.
I framed it when I got it because I was like, it's just too cool, and, like, I haven't got any other oversized comics except for a couple Humanoids things and the Little Nemo, the big Little Nemo pressing.
Oh, fantastic! You mean the Little Nemo that is The Dream Another Dream? That one?
Yeah, it was the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I'm in that one. I have a piece in that one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's probably, like, the first time I ever saw your work, honestly. If I'm thinking
that's
back.
a good book. That book won an Eisner Award. Like, we were over the moon. Like,
it's fantastic. It's beautiful, and, like, all these amazing people contributed to it, you know?
Yeah. A friend of mine, Bodhi Tuning, is in that book, and he was like, when it won the Eisner Award, he was like, so, like, does that mean I get to call myself an Eisner-winning cartoonist now? Like, do I? I'm like, well, nah. But it means you can, like, have the word Eisner in your bio, you know, contributed to the Eisner-winning anthology, but he just wanted to be Eisner-winning Bodhi Tuning. It's not quite, slightly misleading, I think.
But he can slip that somewheres into his CV, you know.
Oh yeah, and believe me, like I have, like I never shut the fuck up about it. Like I will always, like, anytime I have to write a bio, it will be in there somewhere. Like that anthology is in there, just because I get to say Eisner, you know.
Right, that's awesome. Sorry, I know we got kind of off track for a second. We'll go back to the new book. What was I gonna say?
Mouth Baby is the new book.
Mouth Baby, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna comment again about Japan and pressing, and then I totally lost what I was going to say, which happens to me a lot.
Yeah, you were talking about how it's amazing how the independents seem to have the nicest printing, whereas the major publishers, you know, it's a little bit more kind of, well, everything's designed for mass production, you know, like they want their overheads to be as cheap as possible. They want to, you know, pile it high and sell it cheap, and you know, that's how mass production works. And of course, the independents are trying to fill the gap by having the nicest printing, which is good. Like that now, the independents fulfill a valuable role, like that the majors can't necessarily do. You know. Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting from, like, a collector's perspective, just because I have, you know, over the years become a bit of a collector in a sense. I despise things, but I can't stop buying books. So, it's so funny to me because I look at my bookshelves and I'm like, they're pretty much clogged with independent books, and you know, I'll look for, like, the Marvel and DC, and that takes up, like, maybe a quarter of all my bookshelves. And then when you compare them, the quality definitely, it's in those independent books, which is just always so interesting to me, because I think they do get looked over in shops, you know, people, and I never really caught that, could figure out quite why, because to me they always look so beautiful on the shelves. Anyway,
of course.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no,
I was gonna say, I do find it really interesting that you are going with a Japanese label, just because you did the Bart Kira, of course. So, and your artwork does have a lot of kind of Japanese manga, cartoony kind of feels like it's going in that direction, or always has had that influence. I don't know. What would you say about that?
Well, I think like definitely the me 10 years ago who was like, I just thought everything Japanese was cool and everything better was over there, and I had like a Nintendo, but I had the Japanese one, and I had to like buy the games in Japan and then learn how to read. I can like read start menu and pause in Japanese. Like I just like I was one of those kids who always thought Japanese stuff was better. So I think like the young me would think it was like the coolest thing ever that I just have this indie Japanese publisher. But the truth is, the reason I go with Black Hook is just because I just think James is a really cool guy. James Stacy, who runs Black Hook, I don't know, you end up meeting a lot of people in the comics industry, and not everybody like shares your sensibilities or your, but I don't know, I just always felt like me and James were on the same page, and I really enjoyed working with him. So that's why I go with him, just because it's always fun to hang out, and we have like quite similar ideas and about, so that's why, just because he's a cool dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So could you give me a bit of a rundown of what the book is all about?
Yeah, okay, so without giving too much away, it's about a young couple who are maybe in their late 20s, and they live in New York, and the man, who is called Leonard, gets the girl, Bernadette, or he calls her Bernard, he gets her pregnant in her mouth, and because of this, she gets her throat swells up and it gets big like a bullfrog. Like within a week she looks like she's 8 months pregnant, but in her throat. And then a day later she gives birth to this healthy mouth baby, and a mouth baby is it's like this red veiny baby. Wait, shall I run and get some concept art, and then you can like
sure.
Cut out the bit where I'm running off? Okay.
Sure.
Hang on. I'm back. So, and then within 1 week, the mouth baby becomes a full-grown human being. Okay. And he's a very demanding and arrogant and quite selfish creature. And so these two people, Leonard and Bernard, who they had never had to look after anybody, they can barely look after themselves, and then suddenly they are looking after this this grown man this grown man almost seems to resent them a little bit, or not have a whole lot of respect for them, and so they're just put into, they have the experience that a lot of parents have, like after 20 years they have it in the first week, like they find themselves in the position that their own parents were probably in like a year before, which is this grown adult they have to take care of, despite the fact that it sort of resents them and doesn't get on with them very well and doesn't share any of their values, Like, yeah, I don't know. It's and then someone gets shot. That's that's where it goes.
Oh my god! How long? How many pages is the book?
It's a short thing. It's only, originally I planned it to be 20 pages, and now it's I think it's about 34 pages.
Okay.
So it's it was never intended to be a graphic novel, and sometimes when I say like I'm going to make a short story, and then 5 years later, people are like, "How is that short story?" And I'm like, "Well, it's 200 pages now, and I don't think you're ever going to see it." But this, like, I really have like kept it within the boundaries that I set for myself, and so 34 pages, and it just tells the story and gets in and gets out, and very pleased with like it's very tightly written, and that was kind of like the goal I set for myself to not meander, and I've done it. I'm very very pleased with what we've got so far.
Awesome. So, like, how long does it really take you to do something like that size? Like, because you did the coloring as well for this.
Yeah.
So you did like basically everything yourself.
Yeah.
While doing your other regular kind of work and everything as well. So,
yeah.
Like, what? I can't imagine trying to organize myself in that way.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, if you look at like any like it, well, I think I started this a year ago, and it didn't like obviously hasn't taken me a year. Like, it's not a year's worth of work in this book, but like it's the whole process has been a year. And if you look at any long-term project, like, have you ever heard of that movie, The Thief and the Cobbler, which took like 40 years to make?
Yes, yeah.
And the only reason for that is because, they couldn't secure the funding, and like it was just always like, if they'd had the entire budget they wanted to work on it, then they could have, worked on it all the time with the crew that they needed. But like with this, it's just me, and I have to fit it around the stuff that actually does make money. So it's like, it's just whenever I get a chance to work on it is when I work on it. And calamity struck like earlier this year when I actually broke my hand, my drawing hand, and and my hand was in a cast for like 10 weeks, and that was like when I was really in like an amazing flow as well. Like, I had so much time to work on it, and I was like talking to the publisher and saying exactly when it was going to come out, and then I just had to tell them, like, it's going to be next year. It sucked, but so it should have come out last year, but we had a run of bad luck.
Yeah, I'll say. Jeez, yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like to break your hand, which is like your livelihood.
It sucked. It really did. But like, I just started writing a lot because, you never get a chance to write. Like, that's the one thing. If you're a comic artist, like you're and an illustrator and a designer, you do all these things. And the one thing that's really important is writing. Like, I believe that, the best comics are always the ones that are written and drawn by the same guy, but I never had a chance to write. And so when I had just 10 weeks to not draw, like, I wrote so much. Like, I wrote some really good stuff, and so I was almost like a bit sad when I got my cast off, to be honest, because I was like, really in the zone with writing, but that's the way it goes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, then we'll be seeing something, this time next year from that cast experience, maybe?
I think so, yeah. Like, I wrote this one really good thing, and I can't wait to get it out, but like, obviously, like, now I have to fit it around the stuff that, as soon as Mouth Baby is done, which will be in the next 2 months, then I'm going to be on a paying project for a major publisher, at least. I just like had a book accepted. Like, I've been pitched. I spent all of last year like pitching books to a major publisher, and they got kind of so far. Like, one editor loved it, and then the next editor loved it, and then the guy above that guy was like, and it would just get kicked back down, and I'd have to start again. But like, I finally got a pitch accepted, and so in March I'm going to be starting on that.
Are you allowed to talk about it, or is it all hush hush?
I don't know. Should I talk about it?
I don't think you should say what it is.
Should I say what publisher it's for?
Yeah, you could say who it's with.
I wonder if I even can. Yeah, I should say, well, it's...
I think so.
Yeah, it's probably...
You've worked with him already.
Yeah, I've worked with him already, like...
okay.
So, last year I did a bunch of stuff for Young Animal.
You did a thing with Young Animal, but you did a thing with DC the year before.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, like, I've been working with... Yeah, Young Animal is a imprint of DC, and so I've been working with them quite a bit and doing covers and things for them, and I did one issue of We Are Robin for DC, so...
Right,
I've been pitching to DC a lot, and Gerard Way at Young Animal kind of took a liking to my work, and because of the Frank Miller recolors I did. Have you ever saw those?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, like, Gerard Way kind of got in touch, and you know, he said like I've liked a lot of your stuff for a long time, and you know, and then we made sweet love, and no. So he just invited me to pitch, and I've been pitching for a while, and like finally, like we got something that he's really, really excited about, and and so I should start working on that in March. But I can't talk about what it is because you know, that's not up to me. It's up to DC and their marketing.
Right.
Their
DC
marketing
is
division.
pretty tight on a lot of their things getting. I've had to deal with DC press before, and it's not terribly fun.
No, they're very like cagey and careful, and yeah, but that's the way like a major multinational conglomerate media company works.
It makes sense. But yeah, okay, that's very exciting though.
It is very exciting, yeah. But what it means is the beautiful thing that I wrote when I had time off is like I have no idea when I'm going to get to it. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just do like a panel a day and make that my thing I get up early in the morning to do or something. I don't know. I'll try and fit it in because it's like, you know, people are saying like it's my friends who I always show my stuff to, like sometimes they're like, like, you know, I didn't even get to the end of reading that script. Why did you show this to me? But like with this, they were like, this is the best thing you've ever done. Like you have to finish this. So you're just gonna have to fit it around other stuff somehow.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you how you came up with the concept for Mouth Baby, because it's such a bizarre sort of concept.
It is bizarre, and you know, I come up with like it was one of those ideas where I'm like, this is so stupid. Like surely this isn't like, but somehow the idea had its hooks into me. You know, like it really wouldn't go away, and then I was like, okay, well I'll sit down and write that and see what happens, and then I did, and I was like, oh, okay, like this means this. It's like a dream that you have, and then when you start interpreting it, you realize what it meant. It's like when I started writing it, I was like, okay, this is actually a story with depth and that relates to my life and that you know, relates to my generation as I see them today. You know, like I realized that. And you know, sometimes I have an idea and I think it's brilliant, and then I come to write it and I'm like, oh, okay, there wasn't that much there, but like somehow this I couldn't really shake this vulgar Mouth Baby idea. And then when I sat down to write it, I realized, like, okay, this has legs. Like, this is the story that I should be writing and should be making, you know? So, I don't know how I came up with it. Like, I feel like it's not even, like, that... I'm sure it's, like, an idea everyone's had, you know? Like, I remember telling it to a friend of mine, and she was like, this is my nightmare when I was 14, you know? Like, I'm sure it's like something everyone's thought of, but not everybody's seen it through and spent a good part of a year making it into a comic book. Right. I actually saw like way after I started doing it, I watched a Brian Posehn comedy routine. It's in that movie Comedians of Comedy, and Brian Posehn like has this whole bit where he's like, when I'm getting a blowjob from my wife, I always like to say, hey, we're going to make a mouth baby. And, and I was like, wait, that's my story.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So, like, yeah, I feel like, honestly, it's something that anyone can come up with, but, like, not everybody could necessarily see where the story is in that and why you'd need to tell that as a story.
Right.
So yeah.
But I mean, I think for the most part, like, you know, Masterplasty 2, although I found it, you know, has a lot of commentary around, you know, this kind of, you know, well, basically our society that, you know, expects everybody to be this perfect image of, you know, whatever media is popular right now. You know, but when you actually, like, look at the book or read the book through, you know, a lot of the photos, the pictures are, you know, illustrations are really like kind of vulgar, you know what I mean? It reminds me a lot of like Japanese body gore to a certain extent. You know?
Exactly, yeah. Very inspired by a guy called Kago Shintaro. No, Shintaro Kago is his name.
Yes, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He writes short stories, and they're always like So often with Shintaro, you don't know if he's like making some kind of satirical point or if he's just indulging himself. But like it's always unforgettable. Like or at least I think so. And yeah, he blends like the grotesque and the beautiful in a way that I find incredibly compelling. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like absolutely what you said.
Yeah. Actually, since you mentioned Shintaro, he has some amazing, I have to say, some amazing, like, I think it's vegan commentary. He's never come out and said this is vegan commentary, but it totally looks like that's what it is.
Oh, right.
Because he's got this wonderful one of the children, the little girls, the cute little girls with the stuffed animals, the stuffed kittens, and then behind the scenes, it's like they're stripping real cats to make these stuffed kittens, and it's just like so grotesque, but it's like fantastic, and I'm like, yeah, that is awesome vegan propaganda right there.
Yeah, God, well, yeah, you could like make a zine and just like have that as the cover of it, like make a vegan zine.
Yeah,
I bet he'd let you license it. Like the crazy thing about Shintaro is like, I don't think he knows how popular he is overseas, and I don't think he knows like how good he is, because like he sells his work really cheap. Like I bought like an original Shintaro cargo for like $50, like $50 American, like and it was like the cover of like one of the stories he did that really told me that I should be serious about being a comic book artist. Like it was a really important story to me. I just like picked that up for nothing at all. Like, so you could, if you wanted to, you could get Shintaro to, illustrate the cover of like a vegan zine or something. You know, like
that would be amazing.
Like, you could do that. Like, that would not be a hard get at all.
Well, we're Facebook friends, him and I, but I don't think his English is 100%. And I'm terrible. Like I'm terrible at talking to people who can't speak English as a first language. I'm just awful at it. I get so confused and tongue-tied, and I'm terrible at trying to. I just end up over-explaining and totally killing whatever it was I was trying to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what you do is you just get a friend who speaks Japanese, and then you have it translated, and translate what you want to say to him, and then email it to him. Like that's what he does all his business by his email address. So
I don't even know how. I might have like 2 friends that are bilingual in Japanese, maybe. But yeah, that's an interesting prospect. I should definitely look into that. I will.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was else I was going to ask you?
He's very available, Shintaro Kago. Like, he's very approachable.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I'm a huge Junji Ito fan.
Yeah, my wife loves Junji Ito. Yeah.
He's got a new book coming out at the end of the month, The Dissolving Classroom, which I thought was a throwback to the... Do you remember The Drifting Classroom, which was like an older... Yeah. I thought it was like an homage or something, but he hasn't confirmed that the Dissolving Classroom has any kind of
relation to the Drifting Classroom.
Yeah.
I didn't. Was still making comics.
Did you hear that? My wife says I didn't know that he's still making comics.
Junji
like
Ito?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he even put one out 3-4 months ago called Cat Diary.
Wow.
And it wasn't actually a horror one. And it was based on his actual cats that his wife forced him to live with, and he's not a cat person at all. He doesn't like cats. He just never was a cat person, and so he starts to become very suspect of these cats that they're like trying to kill him or something. And it's really hilarious because it does encompass a lot of that kind of delusional paranoia that all of his books have. Except
it's classic.
It's humorous and cute, yeah. And
I
draws cute cats.
I had this amazing book that was like how to draw manga. You know those terrible how to draw manga books?
Yeah.
And there's one which is like how to draw manga, horror and fantasy. And it had like all these hilarious bad drawings in it. Like there's just a drawing of a bland room, and then it says, this is a normal room. You wouldn't put this in a horror comic. And then underneath it had the same room, but there's like a monster like peering in through the window and like tentacles under the bed. And it says, this is more scary. This is better for horror. But like later on in the book, there was like an illustration of a cat wagging its tail, and then a man with like a delirious look kind of dancing around like a zombie, and then it just said, when the cat moves its tail, the man obeys, right? And I don't know if that's like a classic archetype of Japanese folktales or what, but it was just in there with no real explanation. But it makes me think of I once made like a really kind of dashed off short comic about the disease, the bacteria found in cat poo called Toxoplasmosis gondii, and it's said to actually be a parasitic bacteria that will mind control human beings.
What?
So
my God.
So if a cat lives in your house, it's actually releasing mind-controlling parasites that will let you be more receptive to the presence of cats. Which is why, like, when you see people with a lot of cats, they tend to kind of go doolally, you know? Like, it's because the cats are actually controlling the people through parasites. And, like, this is actually a scientifically studied phenomenon.
I believe it. I don't know anything about cats. I really don't. But I believe that because, number one, I think cats are usually trying to kill me.
Yeah, they probably are. Like, you're probably not far off.
Cats are great.
Cats are great, but they're up to something. Like, they seem to... They certainly, like, it can be agreed that they care about themselves more than they care about their human owners. And I haven't met every cat, though, that's true. Yeah.
Definitely. Anyway. Oh, okay. I feel like I should ask you more questions before I let you go. I realize we're running a bit late.
Oh, that's cool.
Where was I? My brain.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, those are the main things I wanted to ask you, of course, because I wanted to know about your new book. I didn't want to, like, rehash everything, because I know we've talked about Bart Kira a lot in the past. Is there another volume coming out soon?
Yeah, we're nearly done. Like, it's funny, like, all we ever planned to do was, like, make 6 volumes of Bart Kira just, and put them out online and just make a little torrent file and just put it on some free manga website or something. And then, like, as we were making it, it just took on so much kind of momentum, and then people started doing, like, these gallery shows, and then a zine and a book, and then, like, I made a book because I was like, okay, maybe I should, like, try and, see if I can do this my way and see if I can make a book. And then, like, and then there was another gallery show, and someone did an animation, and like, none of this was planned. Like, it just kind of snowballed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, but we're finally about to do the, my friend Alex Jaffe, who's like the deputy editor on it now, he's kind of bringing the train into the station, and we're about to finish the final volume. But after that, I don't know what the plan is. Like, I feel like we should do another book now that it's finished. Like, we should do another little collection. But the last one, like, we lost a whole bunch of money on. So,
oh, no.
So I don't know. It's really hard. Yeah, we miscalculated the shipping. So, like, the idea is that, like, any profit we get, we give to charity. But in this, there was no profit whatsoever. Like, we lost money. Yeah, it sucked. But like, once we've kind of, like, we took our lumps on that one. But once we've kind of recovered, like, I think we're gonna have to do a final Bart Kira book, and like some kind of show somewhere. But right now, like, we're just bringing the train into the station and finishing the project we set out to do, which is just the. I'm going to assume that it's kind of arrogant, but I'm assuming that your readers know what Bart Kira is because it got overexposed. Like, people were sick to the back teeth of it, I'm sure. But it was
pretty much anybody who reads my website should know what Bart Kira is because I've covered it so many times.
Yeah.
So I assume, if not, I'll definitely flash some images on the screen, like right about now, so that to remind people what Bart Kira
just to
is.
Briefly recap for anyone who doesn't know what it is. It's the dumbest idea ever, like, done on the biggest possible scale, like, and that's all you really need to know.
Well, by the time this airs, there'll be a good explanation because I always record a little introduction before my interviews to explain, like, what whoever I'm talking to what they've done and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So they'll know. They know right now. They're like, Amy, we already know. Shut up.
It's good. It's good.
But yeah, well, it's getting late there. It's getting late here. I just got home from work, so I have to go make supper and be responsible, apparently.
Okay.
So, thank you so much for...
I believe it.
Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me and explaining about the new book. I'm looking really forward to seeing it, of course.
Yeah.
So maybe if you give me an advance copy, I can like do a formal article or something when it's done for the launch.
Okay, yeah, no, definitely will. I'll send you one.
Like a PDF or something, you know.
Oh, PDF. Like, oh yeah, you can get.
Because I'll actually buy it.
Try and get you a real copy. Like, I'll get James in Japan to send you one.
Yeah, well, I was planning on buying it when they're for sale anyway.
Oh, in that case, yeah. Well, you can pre-order it right now. Your listeners should know that you can pre-order this book. Yeah, if you go to you can flash the link up or something, but it's on my big cartel, you know.
Right.
So,
yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will include that information so that everyone can go get it. You probably have other stuff there as well. Bart Heroes on there, or?
Yeah, there was. It's sold out. Like, but there's prints and things. There's bits and pieces, and you can buy original artwork there. And you know, there's if you're in the market for that, you can you won't be disappointed.
Okay. Awesome. But
all right. Yeah. Look, this was really fun. This is a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome.
I'll send you some.
Thank you.
Please shoot me your email. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for talking. Bye.